Well, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Hobbying with Tech Tony. I just wanted to do another painting session just to go over kind of what we went and did about a week ago in our painting, or in my painting of the Chaos Space Marines. Some of the detail, I think we painted the hair, some extra details, things like that today. Hopefully we get to finish a little bit of that up, add some extra details, make the hair pop a little bit more, and the other extra tidbits that Chaos Space Marines tend to do. Other than that, happy Monday. Today is February 19th, 2024, President's Day. Excuse me. Hopefully you're at home enjoying your vacation from work. Hopefully you're getting some much needed rest to start off your work week, and hopefully maybe you're painting with me today and we'll have a little fun. So with that said, let's get started. All right, so here we've got one of our champions here. We added that gray or that green wash, the BL tan green. Definitely want to bring that out a little bit more. I want to definitely add in some more depth into the hair. Probably add a nice little wash to that. Probably a little darker wash to get into the recesses. We're going to finish up the axe and some of the details here. His leather tabard with the little skulls. So we got that one to go. Here we're going to have a little fun with the extra trim, some of the details on the chainsword, some of his chains on the tabard, maybe even work on the center belt a little bit here. Again, finish off the hair, maybe even the faces of our Marines, and just have a little extra fun bringing out some of that depth. So, and of course we've got our other little Marines here too. There we go. Got our other little Marines that we're gonna have fun. And got a little ways to go. Nice little conversion here. Took a Age of Sigmar, Chaos, Khorne, Knight. Added my own little twist by adding in, replacing the arm, adding in a bolt pistol, kind of make him more like a world eater champion. This nice little axe. We're gonna have fun working on that, plus some other fun little tidbits he's got going on. I will say that with the metallics, I use the speed paint. I think it was the golden armor speed paint to get the kind of gold brass looking fittings, just to try it out. I probably will add in the silver, make this a little bit more fleshy, and go from there. So a lot of fun stuff to do today. So with that said, what to do. So let's start off with our little champion here and have a little fun. So today what we're going to do is we're going to use, I think I'm going to use armypainter speed paint metallics, the polished silver. I think I forgot to put that as part of the description. One of their new lines here to paint up some of this metal, kind of make it pop a little bit. Other than that, while we're shaking, getting a nice little workout. I like these speed paints. It's got a nice little metal ball inside. Break that up a little bit. Get my wet palette here. Little plastic container with a paper towel in it and a little wet palette paper that I have. And I'm just going to add a couple of drops of this in here. There we go. That's one. Here we go. Actually, I only need one. And now we're going to have a little fun of painting that up. So, Just go for one of my paintbrushes. Turn that around to the side there. All right. And now we'll just plop that paint right on there. I will probably use a little Leadbelcher here as well, which is a little bit darker. But I kind of am digging the speed paint, because now what I can do, especially with metallics, is just quickly and easily dab that on to some of the areas to make that to make it pop a little bit. And hopefully maybe get some of these recesses. I think I want to paint these skulls. Doesn't have to necessarily look pretty, but just enough kind of get my effect of what I want. And this is probably the third or fourth time that I've used these speed paints, and I have to admit they're pretty, I'm digging them. I can see why people like them. When I first started painting years and years ago, they didn't have speed paint. So if you wanted speed, you had to learn to paint fast. But for the most part, paint some of the skull here. Yeah, kind of like that. Doesn't have to be a lot, but just enough. You had to learn how to paint fast. And paints were definitely thicker back then. But again, also you didn't have a choice, or as much choice, unless you went to art school, which I never did. Getting into Citadel paints, they were pretty amazing for what they were at the time. And I still actually have some of those paints from 30 years ago, or 30 plus years ago. Now I will say that I like these speed paints version 2.0. They definitely improved the formula from what I've heard, whereby they won't reactivate necessarily after they've been fully dried. So that's kind of cool. I would never have thought of reactivating a paint, but I know this is a tricky part here, but paint some metallic in there around his face, headgear, and then we'll focus on the rest of that in a little bit. Let's see, we got the metal down. That may or may not pop up, but at least we've got that. And while that's drying, still using the same paint here. Let's go to our next figure. So here, what do I want metallic? I painted that metallic, that metallic. All around the head. There's a little contraption where he can hear everybody. His little vox kind of comes over to the mouth. Again, I'm not worried about getting it on the face too much just because of what we're about to do there. Leave. Okay. See how fast the speed paint works? I've got a ways to go on this one. I'm just being very conservative because I know when I start to paint the rest of it, I'll probably have to repaint over this, but for what it is right now, I think we're okay on that. Anything here? Anything with this guy? No, I've just got a lot of work on him. Yeah. So I'm not worried about that just yet. Alright. Time to wash out the brush. Alright. Alright, speaking of Leadbelcher, let's get that shaken up just a bit. Alright. Oh, I see somebody. Oh no, that's me. Alright, so what do we got going on here? Alright, so I'm going to now use a little Leadbelcher. I love that when paint does that. Comes up the... Works just a little bit. And just a little bit for what we need. I know I need to replace the cap on that, I admit. Now because this is not a speed paint, it's a little bit thicker, I am going to wire it down just a little bit. I'm going to get my paintbrush. Take that in just on a little bit of the tip. Load my brush up just a little bit. And now what I'm doing, I'm just going to lightly go over these teeth. The chain axe. Again, opposite side. Just drag it on down. And then we'll work an engine part here of the chain axe. Right about there. So here. I'll paint that just a little bit. Paint the top. Because it is a full model. Again, we're going to darken that with a wash in just a little while. Alright. The top there. And then... Alright, that's it for that. Alright, we're going to do the same thing here. Wet my brush just a little bit. Get some more of that Leadbelcher, and then again just kind of go over the axe just a little bit. Hopefully everybody had a great weekend, by the way. Hopefully this is this nice little holiday will get your week started off just right. I do plan on making a few how-to videos for my real estate friends and, or I should say, real estate agents here. It's mostly what my channel's all about, is giving nice little fun educational tidbits on how to do things with their technology, like learning how to use the MLS. So I think this coming week, oh, I forgot he's got skulls here. Yeah, this coming week, I think I am going to make an Agent 101 video. Basically, create a 1 hour long how-to class on the basics of using the Matrix MLS system. So that way, if you're a new agent and you happen to find my channel on YouTube on how to work the MLS, specifically crmls.org, then hopefully you will like that training video. I know that's a fairly regular class that I do teach, at least to one particular office each and every month, to their agents, and they seem to really like it because they're new. So it's a great way of understanding how to find properties, how to get properties to their clients, how to make saved searches, make a comparative market analysis, some basics, things like that, that are always fun and useful. Oh, do I need Leadbelcher here? No. Okay. All right. So, yeah. Other than that, I guess Games Workshop let out their releases or pre-orders for Dark Angels, their guide, some models. I guess it's a different way of having champions versus Blade Guard. Haven't really looked too much into it, other than I don't know why you would, not take sword and board versus a double-handed, power sword. But I'd have to, see what their stats are. Probably useful in a group. If you can mix and match them, that'd be cool. I seriously doubt that you could, but that's what Games Workshop does. One thing that kind of bothers me is that you can't, not all the chapters have access to all the stuff, which is fine. It gives everybody a little bit of character, but why not? So, all right. Next thing that we're going to do is we're going to use some Citadel base Mournfang brown, because I've got some brown stuff that I need to paint, tabards, gun holsters, little top knots, kind of give it that leathery style look. And I'll probably mix it with a little Ceramite white. And let's see if you can see that Ceramite white as well. So we'll shake that up. Put that on this palette. And gotta love that when your squeeze top merges. Haven't figured out a way to get that to, guess I'm screwing them on too tight. There we go. Haha. Huzzah! Alright. Put little dabs of white there. Excellent. A little bit of that Mournfang brown. A nice little spot on my palette for this. Oh, you're like, oh good. And actually, we'll just get that on the palette. Boop. some of that paint back in there. Come on, go back in the nozzle. Don't you just love that? There we go. All right. Don't know why some of these do what they do, but hey, it's way better than losing it all in the cap. That's what I say. All right. Mournfang brown. Bristles are a little wet. In there. And now, for his little top knot, I'm just going to go over just like so. So here, just that little top knot. Perfect. I'm not putting a lot on the top knot for sure, just because I want the detail. And when I add a wash to it, it should enrichen that look. And of course, it'll be good practice when I do my Abaddon. Eventually. There we go. Of course, he's got little brown tabards down here. So we're just going to paint those little brown tabards. I should say the leathery tabard. We'll just go over it fairly lightly. Because then what I'll do is that I will add a lighter color, or lighter brown, to make that stand out, and then we'll wash it to make it pop. Now you'll notice here I'm just using the acrylics. I'm not using, you know, what some of the professional painters are using out there, like oil paints and stuff like that. Those are really cool techniques that I'm sure I'll eventually would love to learn how to do. But for now, just something simple. Now I know those painters do competitions and stuff. Not about that. And nor should you. If you're getting into this and you're painting, because that was something that, you know, was one of those things for me that when I got into this game, it was all about, you know, just having fun. And unfortunately, I wasn't given a choice like I see today, where people don't paint their models. And it's funny because Games Workshop, if you're in a tournament, kind of penalizes you for that. But one of the things that I loved about this was painting my own style, painting my own chapter of Space Marines. You know, I just had a lot of fun with that. And, you know, again, you know, not that I, you know, not only did I like putting these models together, and granted, back when I first started, you know, there wasn't much to put together. You know, lead and pewter models all had one pose. You could, you know, do whatever you wanted to with the arms, which that was fun because the arms were plastic. But your posability was very, very limited. And obviously there were people that were doing painting competitions by second edition where they were taking the pewter models and doing some amazing stuff with it. If you happen to go back through history of Games Workshop models, but that was something I was never really into. But it made painting that much more fun because pretty much everybody was in one style, and it didn't take much to do the paint. I would say at the time I could do at least 2 or 3 models in about 2 or 3 hours, Space Marines. But again, it was something very simple and easy to do. And of course, when you're 19, 20 years old, you know, limited budget, your life being only work and home, no car, because I had no car at the time. Public transportation got me to and from work. Now, granted, this is when I lived back east. By the time you get home, you know, I could have my painting table set up right in front of the TV. The advantage of living by yourself at the time, and then just have fun painting all night till whenever. So, and then get up, do it all over the next day. so times have changed, obviously. As you get older, you got more responsibilities, you know, relationships, marriage, bills, home payment, things to do around the house, laundry, all that fun stuff. So it can be a little bit more challenging, but it's like working out. If you gauge that time for yourself in your busy day, you know, just to take a walk, you know, step away from the video games, whatever. Why not? You know, you can do it. Just put your mind to it, what you want. You know. And of course, you know, you end up working 2 or 3 jobs just to make ends meet. You have to. It's the way life was back then. You know. Then, of course, you adjust accordingly if you have to do something like that. Maybe you got a friend that you want to do something like this, but you don't have the financial means. You know, save up for it. Benefits is, you know, one of the beautiful things about doing stuff like this is that, you know, at the end of the day, you do the things that make you happy, you save up for it, because that's the reward, right? So, and again, you don't have to be fancy. Maybe eventually you save up for that airbrush, and you know, you can do that. You know, or you find yourself getting 3D printed models, which are anywhere from a quarter to a half the price of the Games Workshop models. Go for it. You know, nobody says you have to play a tournament. Nobody says you can't, amongst friends, just have models that represent. You know, if you find joy in your painting and your style, then I encourage that. All right, so here I'm just going to paint that skull like I did last week on the pad. Kind of brush over top of it. without losing too much of the black. Down a little silver there. Or should I say Leadbelcher? And don't let these painters intimidate you. You know, it's okay to admire somebody's painting. It's, you know, part of the joy. You know, and again, something to work to. If you go, oh, I want to have my figures like that, then you'll do it. It just takes practice. Just got to do it. No one could, you know, painters like Duncan and Wyatt Turk and Kenny Boucher and, you know, Rob Bearer and others out there, they weren't master painters overnight. They had to work at it. They had to work at it. I know I painted that white, but kind of like the silver skull better. Yeah, like that. Boom. Leadbelcher is our friend. There we go. Okay. I will say that, you know, I didn't have all this fancy stuff. Mine was just a little computer table. Like, actually, it was a little fold-out table. And I had my paints. I had bottle caps. You know. I had, like, 2 brushes. That was it. One normal size brush, one really fine one, and that was it to paint my models. You know, I didn't even have primer at the time. So it made painting those things quite interesting, especially on the plastics, because plastic and acrylic at the time just did not connect well, so it was many, many layers. Which is why it took me 2 hours to paint it. Like 3 Space Marines. Alright, so here we're just going with that tabard. Here we've just got that Mournfang brown just watered down so that it just flows a little bit. Just like so. I'm going to get that holster. Like so. Oh, I keep getting off center there. Sorry about that, y'all. Flip them over. Backside, make it maybe a little bit darker just because it's between his legs. Not a lot of sunlight goes in there. Just like having fun. Just like having fun. Alright. Okay. So now, at this point, what am I going to do? I'm going to add a little Mournfang brown. And I'm going to use some of that Ceramite white. Kind of get a nice little creamy brown. A little bit lighter. And actually, I'm going to dry brush it. Over his dark hair. So with this one, even though it looks light here, I definitely want to dry brush that brown hair for his. I got my Citadel dry brush here, something small, medium, what have you. Just gonna dab it in both the white and the brown. Kind of get the color I want. Because it's so little, knock most of that color out. Now, just lightly go over the hair so it stands out a little bit. Trying to make sure I don't hit the rest of the model. Because it's still wet. I got some of that paint. There we go. See how they just lighten that up a little bit? I'm just going to come over there. Because now what I'm going to do, after that dries, I'm then going to hit it with a little bit more of a wash. That hopefully will just go again back in the recesses to kind of lighten that up. And even if I don't, it doesn't look half bad. And I got the paint. I know a lot of people go, oh, don't, water your dry brush, but I think I just use so little that why not? Because again, I'm just gonna, get the paint on it again and dry it. Alright, so that's that for him. Alright, so now, what do I do with the blonde hair? Probably nothing yet. Let's work on the face. Alright, so I'm going to try this Jasper skin to see if I can't lighten up some of the skin tone here for these gentlemen. Again, I'm just going to dry brush that on. Actually, I don't want Jasper. I want the amber skin. I want to lighten that up. They're not the cleanest of fellas. They're out there, they're worn, they're having fun. Again, spending our time. Alright. Whoop, dab that on. Excellent. Don't even have to squeeze anything. Alright, so I'm just going to get some of that paint on this dry brush, just like so. Take my paper towel, dab most of that off. And now I'm just going to be really super careful and just go over the face. So what you're doing is you're layering the skin with the skin tones. Now, do I have that perfectly dialed in? The answer is heck no. I actually was taught a particular formula from Games Workshop, which was, what was it? Mournfang brown with, oh, do I not have it here? With, I think it was like Banshee Flesh or something like that, or Uthway Bone. Then you take Riker's Flesh and go over it, and then you kind of then go over that reddish tone again with your dry brush. But here we're just lightening up the skin just a bit, so that way when I do add another layer of wash, it just kind of merges the colors together, but hopefully it will be a little bit more natural looking. And if you look there, it just kind of lightened them up. So again, for these lighter guys, you can probably see. And then I just I have just enough on there to kind of have fun with it. Again, they all don't have to look the same. And actually, we'll probably use that pro-acryl flesh again. He's really light. You know what? I think I'm going to do this to the horns too. I'll lighten it up a little bit. Oh, looks like somebody's calling. Gotta love that. There we go. His horns have been lightened up a little bit. You can do that with this too, with the axe. I like how that looked was happening, so again, just going over and lightening that brown just a little bit. Go in there and paint the teeth, paint the gums. So So it looks a little bit more vicious. There we go. Cool. Cool, cool. All right. All right, so now let's see here. I think I want this golden armor. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to apply armypainter speed paint golden armor. I'm just going to get some, hopefully, metal details here. Kind of giving me, hopefully, a brass look. I think I need a finer brush. Okay, let's see how this works. Boop. Okay. Okay. All right, so from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to bring out the belt a little bit, maybe the little trinkets here with this particular color. So go for the one. Yeah, that looks a lot better. Around the eye. You know what? I'll just up all that. Because what I can always do is paint over top of the eye white for a different color effect. There we go. Got that, got that. For his sword, we're gonna add some of those details here again with that same golden armor. This time I'm using a little bit of a finer brush. To me, it just reminds me of brass. Again, what's nice about this speed paint is it goes on super easy. Hopefully you can see that. Again, we're gonna just do that here for the inside. see. Hopefully you can see that gold being added there. I know it's such a small detail, but do that. Of course, for his center belt. Let me see here if you can see. So now he's got his belt. Just pulling it from the outside in. There we go. This is his belt. It's got some detail to it now. Get his little trinkets. Stand against that Leadbelcher a little bit. I may even add a brighter silver around that one. There we go. Voila. Okay. Brush, get this guy, kind of the same thing, his belt, painting the eye, if I have to, I'll just dab the red back in there a little bit if I get any of this on there. Paint the little emblems, the little trinkets. You always see what you miss. Like so. Oh. There we go. All right. Nope. Nope. Missing anything here? Nope, now the corn emblems. Well, okay. Alright. I think we've been going for about an hour now. It's about 3:30. You can hear my dog walking around. I need to take him out, let him do his thing. Other than that, I hope you all enjoyed today's painting session. Hopefully, this Saturday we will come back on Saturday or Sunday, do another little hour, kind of do a little bit more, and then go from there. Other than that, I hope you all have a great and wonderful day and a great and wonderful weekend. I'm just gonna turn that one down, and then I hope you all have a great and wonderful weekend, and I will talk to you all next week. Have a great and wonderful day, and happy hobbying, everybody, and real estate agents. Hope you're having a beautiful, wonderful day, and I will talk to you all soon.